We're here. Yes, indeed, we're here. Structuring a connection within us, for us, by us, as we raise out of we raise our consciousness in unity, looking for a unity conscience as we spring forth from one area to another, as we transform self to what can be noted as another part of you or an aspect of yourself, right? One fractal may contain a lot of information that you have to apprehend of yourself. You might have to go to another dimension and say, oh, there's part of me. Oh, we're contained together now. Being aware, right? It's good to see you guys here. I know I'm already going in. I thought last video very excited because I think we're at a real time. I think I'm at a real time with myself. I think I'm out dealing with myself, knowing that sometimes illusions don't mean it's not true. It just means it's temporal. Yeah, it can be very temporal. This place I live, this wall over here may be solid as can be, but it's not really solid. It's energy. It's actually just energy like that. It can appear one way and actually used one way in the way it appears on one level, like your house, like your car, like your wall, like your table. But it's not really a table when you get into the higher realms of how energy works. It's energy, it's energetic, and it's energy. That's why you would see a guy like Dynamo Jack get his energetic field and push a straw through a table, which I had a video showing Dynamo Jack, when he got into the different currencies of his frequency and vibration, became so energetic that he could push a straw through a table. Yeah, go look back at the other videos I had about that. It wasn't very long ago, but anyways, man, we went in on base reality. So let's go in a little bit today on, kind of goes with it. I had mentioned it in our closing, and it would be, what is the difference? You got these two aspects of judgment and discernment. And that was a question somebody had. Discernment is actually a higher vibe of frequency contained in a unity consciousness coming together and producing a discernment like a child. I mentioned on the call of the child, blues had a child and they named it rock and roll. Your logic and intuition had a child and it becomes a very discerning child. And it's very much a guide. It's a GPS, it's a guide, it's a protector, and it functions on all levels of dimensions or densities. Judgment usually comes from the lower level of 3D reality of fear-based judgment. Somebody's not doing something like you, or you judge yourself because you're not like them. We can judge ourselves because we're awake and we're sleeping. Those are facts. When discernment, judgment is putting them in a place of they're not like me, or I was in a conversation with somebody very near and dear to me a few years ago. Very young man, very near and dear to me. And he's older than that now, but he was very much a lot younger then. And he had said, because he had got certain revelations and understanding through his lives and was awareness, right, that he got it and there was no excuse nobody else did. Why does he got it in his neighbor or his friend or his school board, or this Jackie Blue over here, Jimmy Green over here, and Terry Gray over here doesn't have it? And it didn't come with grace. It came with just a lot of judgments against them who didn't have what he had. But it was from a very low density reality, because he did have some stuff he knew. I'm not going to say he didn't. He was a very young man for having it. He had some awareness, he had some understanding, and was open-minded but he had allowed himself to go into full bore judgment against, saying they had just as much chance as me. Why do I do, almost like that, almost argumentative, or like, this is me and that's them. Why are they so not getting what I got? What's their excuse now? And notice, Val, from last taping, Valerie, Val, appreciate you. Thank you for everything that you do. I'm not coughing. If you listened to the last video on this video, I'm not coughing. Man. Yeah. Now watch me start coughing out. So my mind, it came to me, I'm not coughing. Just did a 30, because this is my recording day. So the previous video I did, it was 34 minutes, no coughs. Started early. We're here probably in the first 5 minutes. No coughs. Definitely had that before. Got rid of it. Hit that vitamin C. Hit that water. Hit that vitamin D. Hitting those things that you can help yourself and aid and help your immune system like we can every other system. So what, and going back, so he was really judgmental. We've all been there, maybe not on that level, but we have been there on certain things. Some of it is discernment. When you come into a place of discernment, I can discern a lot and can discern certain things, and it's cool to discern certain things, and it's good to discern certain things, but the alignment of discernment's usually a lower value, and we're discerning judgments are very, very low of value, because it's kind of like the final judgment you're putting on somebody. They are not because of this or not. With discernment, you can see whys and whens and hows and whys and becauses. Judgment usually tries to end it because they're not something. It's always usually done at the 3D physical level, judgment. And I had said on the last thing, sometimes people, you might think their next move is coming with you, and the next move might even take a step back or to the side, like almost like like cancer, the crab. They have to sidestep because they have to go through something to close something, to learn something. There's even one thing that we're finding out in the conscious community is these people are saying, especially with the New Age movement, New Age was something that would get and come up with these certain aspects that weren't really New Age. Some of them are very, very ancient. New Age would be actually true New Age in this aspect would be Muslims and Christians. They're newer of that age. Come on now. I just told you something and you go, oh, I didn't hear it like that. Could you judge me for saying that? Or are you saying that makes sense because I discern that? But a lot of times I knew with it was decked with truth, but not, let me put it this way. Life is beautiful. Life is namaste, but not always. Sometimes you need a good rack upon the head. And what I'm saying is spiritually, you have to go through stuff. And it's not always namaste. There is a place and time for namaste. Don't get me wrong. But that tended to be that instead of the balance of all. If all is self, it's all. You take the yin with the yang. You take the dropping the seed, or the pearl coming from the oyster who rubbed and hurt and pain. Like many of yours trials through these situations had these aspects of it, right? So, yeah. So, discernment is a guide and a gift and an eyesight to see something the way it is, but doesn't lean you into a judgment of it. It can be seen like it is, but it's not. It could be a warning sign. Don't go left, don't go right, because you're not safe. Go over here and do this. Go do this. You're going to give a helping hand to somebody, right? Out of a situation or something, it could be a loved one, it could be a friend that are base consciousness. Helped a lot of base conscious people in the help that they need where they're at. Not inquire, do they understand what I understand? You know what I mean? They may not have any revelation that they can even retain themselves at this time or even tell you about. If you ask them, have you ever had a revelation? Or almost like, have you ever asked somebody, What is your purpose? And all they keep telling you is it's their job, they did this. And then their job, they did this. And you're sitting there going, that's not what I asked you. But their consciousness, they see themselves as their profession or job. They don't see themselves anything more. That would be that base conscious, and it would be easy. You can discern that, or you can judge that. You can judge them to the lower parts of hell forever and judge them, but their walk might be in, they may get in, you talk to them a year and a half later and you see enlightenment started to take place. Discernment will always have you discern between aspects that are proper, helpful, and aiding to yourself. Discernment is a must to guide you through base, right? Now pretend the cross. Base is my elbow. Now let's go straight, okay. The cross is going up. As you go up the densities, you need discernment on every one because there's other energies there bidding for your attention. And if they're not helpful to you, you'll have the discernment and say, it's not so much chaos as the lower density where chaos can be chaos everywhere, right? Chaos politically, chaos religiously, chaos craziness, sexual, craziness presidential race, craziness what's happening in Europe, crazy train like Ozzy Osbourne, and that song needs to be decoded because there's a lot to that song. Even being open to decode songs that you guys used to call, and we were told by our religious aspects, at least I was in the 80s, that it was all devil music. And I'm not saying that there isn't no lower aspects to it, because definitely there is. But a lot of these songs are trying to get you a message to let you see how it is, almost like these movies, which come from a certain place, not looking out for your best, but telling you the truth in a lot of cases, telling you the exact truth. And because we know with our discernment that Hollywood is not always the greatest place, and certain things that we deal with in all entertainment value, some people don't know certain things. They don't know. Some people may love certain things so much that if you were to tell them the truth about it, one is sports, they would be like, no, don't tell me, that's my team, I love them. I could tell you about them. I went through gematria. I see what happens with sports. And you were never a bigger sports guy than me. Never. I coached, I played, and it was part of my upbringing to the fact is I've kind of just pushed it away last 2 years. Yeah. To when you see, I don't watch football no more. There's a reason why I don't. It was part of mine, but may not be a part of yours yet. There's an aspect I learned from a certain teaching about it that put pieces together what it is, which goes with a lot of other stuff, especially with those who signed contracts. But we won't go there, but that's a discernment. I've seen that. Some people aren't in that. They'll go into judgment over it. Judgment over people is something that you have to see. There's a huge difference between judgment and discernment. Discernment's an aid. Discernment's a spiritual insight that you need. If you don't have discernment, you need discernment to raise your frequency in your consciousness. You have to have it. It's a must. If you don't have it, you're just going to keep doing repeat and repeat. You're going to get back on samsara's wheelhouse again and ride that ride again and chase the same light you had, multiple incarnations. You're going to keep chasing because it's attracted to you. You're attracted to that light of doing it again. Come back, Jack, and do it again. And so let's look at a little bit of etymology for this one. The etymology we're going to look up is the word discernment. All right. Discernment, 1580s. Keenness of intellectual perception, insight, and acuteness of judgment. This is meaning this acuteness is a medical term, even using that's needed. It means preciseness, like a freaking surgeon, like a mechanic that knows exactly what to go in. A surgeon knows where to cut at to maybe fix something in you or take something out or replace something in you. And this would be the same thing. So when you look at this, keenness, which really I'm going to call intellectual perception, is more, it's very much a conscious, where the intellect meets the intuition, insight. It's not outsight. Acuteness of judgment. Active perceiving by the intellect. There's an awakening that happened. The perception. You're perceiving something. Scripture I'm going to use. Jesus was amongst the people, and he perceived their thoughts, perceived his perception. And he knew what they were thinking, which he knew was on their mind. I've experienced that. Have you experienced that? I've experienced that. And a lot of this is something that you can teach over and over to them who have not experienced it, will never understand unless it's experienced. This is discernment. If you have not experienced discernment, you can't understand it. You can give me all kinds of false narratives on it, but you won't have the experience until this happens. Until you've experienced consciousness, discernment, vibratory raising of consciousness, having experiences in the fourth, fifth dimensions, by going into that part of your aspects, going into the astral plane in your dream cycles and experience dream, being a dreamer that can go and even create through their dreams. You're not going to understand that until you experience it. And a lot of this going to the higher levels is by experiencing it. The experiencing it goes with the discernment, is so powerful that it's even called a insight acuteness. It's not an outside. It's not outside you. It's within you. And remember, when it becomes within us, we start projecting. The reality is projected from the within to the without, above, below. The mirrors there in all this aspects. Here we talk about the fractals, the mirror imaging. Go back a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, I had videos about the myriads of people, or the myriads of the Christ, the myriads of the fractals of the self, putting it back together. You're very much leveled in different levels of yourself. I've even had experiences where I've seen myself in another realm, but it was less than a second. It's happened twice to me where I said, it was like I was looking and I seen myself in a whole different reality, in a whole different dimension, a whole different realm. It was no more than 0.10 seconds to both times, but I was aware for that quick, and I came out of it and I was like, I just seen myself somewhere else. I can tell you about it, but you won't understand it till you experience these type of things. Discernment is on that level. When you start having discernment, judgment is a low frequency vibration to go into judgment. A lot of people want to use everything as judgment and say you're judging, but it's not really that. You're discerning a lot of times, because a lot of times your discernment was activated about something a long time ago in the same situation with people. That is the same frequency that they're doing. They're repeating the samsara. They keep doing the same things over and over and not having a change. I mentioned here, when you do the same things over and over, and then you're sitting up there, how come it's not different? It's called being craziness. You're doing the same things and you're expecting a different result. Same thing. So the discernment, right? Let's go down a little bit farther. Entries like in the discernment. To perceive or recognize the difference of distinction between two or more things. They're putting rationally, they're trying to put terms on it, but these terms is not explaining the experience. This is trying to academiaize something that's needed for experience. You can give certain words to it. And it is being able to recognize the difference of distinction between two or more things, because you need to do it between two or more things at some certain points in your life, because you're talking about different densities and dimensions you travel, you have to be able to discern on the level of that dimension and density when you're there, because not all are the same. I just shared in the last video how I having these dreams. These dreams were just flooding in my astral plane, and I've seen the chaoses, and the portals would always open up for me, whether it was a door or really a portal. I'd go through it, and then after that, it wasn't for like months in a row. All my dreams, and actually ever since, have not been chaos. They've been a unity oneness faction, kind of unity oneness interaction with different people, all actually interacting in unity oneness with each other. It's been ever since for about 9 months that every time I go dream, I haven't really had these places of chaos I have not been experiencing for a long time now. After experiencing having them for a bit, and having them in the past, and even going and seeing people that ended up being like direction and giving me things, but they wouldn't say, hey, this is what we're doing for you, this is what your life will is, this is what your purpose. They said, you'll know, and you'll know by your GPS will come on, and you'll know where you're going, while they gave me vehicles. And then I understood in that dream that when I see them, who they were, somewhat higher self spirit guides. And spirit guides were directing me, and they didn't tell me what to do. They told me, you will know. And even the dream, I go, I know you guys, and I know you're I know you're powerful, and I know you're full of wisdom. But I can't tell you who you are now, but I know you. And that's what happened in the experience. I had that dream and that experience. And then actually the last 2.5 months, it's really came clear to me. Actually, the last 3 weeks, super clear. It hit me about what those were. So these are things that nobody can tell you, and they can't experience until they're activated, because the discernment requires activations, right? It creates upgrades. Upgrades can give you dark nights of the soul. Upgrades will change frequency and make you feel alone. Upgrades will make you even feel depressed and out of it, like dark nights of the soul. But when you more and more frequency in your upgrade, you kind of know this is what goes with it. So don't worry and don't think you're losing it and need to go see a psych, because it may not be. Just things have changed. What's important to you is no longer important to you as it was before. Hence, let's go. So here, to perceive, rationally, understand, I like understand, distinguish between separate by shifting directly from discerning to separate, set apart, divide, distribute, distinguish, perceive. And that's what you're doing. You're actually going, on the right is the goats, and on the left, or on the left's the goats, and on the right's the sheep. You're starting to discern situations where you know the placement of, it might even be warnings, it might be directions. I've shared back about the day that my intuition led me directly to finding a lost little girl. And this is not bragging. I trusted it while the situation, others didn't. And it was like an exercise boot camp for me to find this girl who was missing. And watch a past video, I forgot which one it was, I talked about this situation. But discernment, intuition, discernment's a must. It's not judgment. It's not the same as judgment. There's a scripture that says, he that's spiritual judges all things. I think it's the wrong thing. It says, he that's spiritual has discernment, should say, instead of judgment. It can, to the uninitiated, it can see like a thin line between the same, but to the experience and the ones who operate in discernment, no, it's not the same. One's temporal judgment, one's continuous discernment. That's not linked just to 3D reality, but goes up into the higher realities. So let me see, separate, distinguish, separate, shift, distinguish, discern, discerning, amazement, betterment, could be merriment. So actually, when you go, you can kind of see that this is where this is going, and discernment is being something that we deal with. It's an experience. It's a must. Judgment. Anybody can be a judge. Three days reality is always trying to judge, right? That's the whole story of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, the knowledge of discernment of good and evil, or the knowledge of, or the book of life, which would be living it, experience it, and then judgment be the difference. Knowing good and evil would be judgment of it. Know the book of life, and that would be the experiences of it. Big difference between experience and just judgment. Because you're being judged right now for what you like, what you dislike, which, religious are going to judge you to death. The Democrats are going to judge you if you're Republican. The Republicans are going to judge you if you're Democrats. You should judge yourself if you're either one of them, because your discernment's not on fire. But some people are not in that place to understand it. Their hope is through the programming, what's been presented to them as being their options. But we understand that when you realize that you're giving two options, that's not freedom. That's still being in a 3D reality, or you're living in your samsara still, chasing a white light that keeps reshuffling the deck on you to do it again. Yeah. So we just wanted to get here because this is really pivotal to have discernment, not judgment. Discernment is a need. I'm telling you folks, here is a need for you to go up. Discernment. There's facts. There's people in the conscious community right now that are being elevated super high. My discernment, long time ago, someone. And actually it's came out what this meant. I knew that it wasn't for I knew what it was, and it reflected. Actually, even one had came out and some things were said by some other people. And then it was like certain thing happened, came out, and I go, man, what did I just talk about? Exactly, being caught up in this so-called being of it and not being in it is two different things. Being of the world and not being in the world would be really connected to your centering of your heart through your discernment. You guys have a really, really awesome day.